The Summer Games Fest and all the showcases have finally ended, so it's time to review what was announced and give my thoughts on it. As I speculated, Sony held a state of play a few days before the event, even if they weren't officially affiliated with it. There were a lot of surprising announcements this year, especially sequels, so much that I wrote a blog just for them. But I must say that the smaller streams were very disappointing. Usually, they have at least a few games that are worth at least a check, but this year there was a lot of forgettable stuff. So in my review, I will focus on the state of play, the Summer Games Fest, and the Xbox Showcase. Let's start with the surprising sequels. None of these were bombastic, but they added some nice moments to each presentation. So let's go over them. First in the state of play came Bloodstain. Thinking about it now, I shouldn't have been surprised since it was obvious it was going to get a sequel eventually, but the announcement still caught me off guard. I liked the first one, so I'll keep a watch on the sequel. I thought that Koei Tecmo had put the Nioh franchise to sleep, so the announcement of Nioh 3 caught me by surprise. The new protagonist is Tokugawa, but aside from that is some combat footage, not much was shown. SGF kept the unexpected sequels going with the announcements of Mortal Shell 2, Code Vein 2, and Atomic Heart 2, each surprising for its own reasons. Mortal Shell was one of the more well-known Souls clones that started releasing in the last few years, but it never felt successful enough to warrant a sequel, yet Mortal Shell 2 exists. Code Vein 2 was surprising in the same way Nioh 3 was. It felt like Bandai Namco had also asked the franchise, only to bring it back now out of nowhere. Atomic Heart 2 was unexpected due to the opposite reason to the other games so far, since little time passed after the release of the first game. Scott Pilgrim was the biggest surprise sequel, coming 10 years after the original release. Versus the World was a good game, and I hope they can surpass it. In the Xbox Showcase we got more sequels. High on Life 2 is also a sequel to a game that I felt didn't reach the success needed for it, like Mortal Shell. Super Meat Boy 3D is a sequel to an IP that I felt was long dormant, but here it comes with a new game. Luminous Arise is a puzzle game clearly inspired by Tetris Effect, with music and visual effects on the screen while the player forms lines. Tetris Effect was fine, so this game will probably be fine too. Plus, it is also coming to PSVR 2. Pragmata was a big surprise, but the trailer was worrisome. We got more of the characters in the story, but besides that, it was just the same clips of gameplay with a release window of 2026. After so long, and the best Capcom can show is a rehash of the last trailer with no release date does not bode well. Square Enix finally announced the Final Fantasy Tactics remake. We knew this game was coming due to the Nvidia leak, but still it took years for Square Enix to finally announce it. The game will also come with the Warped Alliance version. NetherRealm saw what Capcom was doing with its collections and decided they wanted to do it too. So now they are releasing Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, with the first 4 Mortal Kombat games and all their different versions. The remake of Metal Gear Solid 3 also had a trailer, which was okay, but the real teaser came at the end with the hint of a multiplayer mode. Sony announced that 5 more levels are coming to Astrobot, which is a no-brainer, easy slam dunk for them. After I put out my predictions video, I realized I completely forgot about Sword of the Sea, but if I had included it in my video, I would have guessed it would be shown at SGF. So it showing up in the state of play was a nice surprise for me. Also, it now has a date, August 19th. We finally got a first look at the new 007 game, First Light. It was mostly cinematics focusing on a younger James Bond, with the tease that a second trailer is coming this month. This state of play was full of surprises, mostly on a small scale, but Marvel Tocon Fighting Souls was the biggest surprise of the show. ArcSys is developing a Marvel Tag Fighter, but with the traditional anime looks that ArcSys gives its fighting games in teams of 4 fighters instead of the 3 that MVC is known for. Summer Game Fest followed the standard pace of JOF shows, meaning a good start, a hollow middle, and finishing with a strong game. Death Stranding 2 had a surprisingly short trailer, at least for Kojima standards, and as usual it didn't clarify much about the story of the game. Sonic Racing Crossworlds announced its release date, September 25, and revealed Hatsune Miku, Ichiban, Joker, and Steve are all joining as racers. Marvel Cosmic Invasion revealed 2 more playable characters, Rocket Raccoon and She-Hulk. This game is shaping up to be a fun beat-em-up. Onimusha Wave of the Sword got a new trailer and we saw a villain using a gauntlet just like Musashi, also a mysterious girl inside the gauntlet. Felt that boxing takes puppets and puts it in a Punch-Out style game, which is fine by me. If Nintendo isn't going to release a new Punch-Out, then other developers can step up and fill the space. Mina the Hollower finally got a release date, October 31, and there's a demo out right now. I played it and liked it, so Yacht Club will get my money when this game drops. Acts of Blood is a beat-em-up similar to Sifu, but with a realistic and gritty visual. I'm not sold on the game yet, but it caught my attention. It will be good if they can make the combat very deep. Street Fighter VI was expected to announce its Season 3 at SGF, and they did it. Sagat, Sea Viper, Alex, and Ingrid will all be joining SF6 in the next 12 months. It was rumored for quite some time that Wu-Tang was involved in a game, and it finally got revealed. Wu-Tang Rise of the Deceiver was announced. It is an ARPG with co-op of up to 3 players, but we got just a little snippet of gameplay. RGG Studio gave another view to Project Sentry, now officially titled Stranger Than Heaven, but this time the trailer was set in 1943, almost 30 years after the first one. Considering RGG likes to split games into chapters, I think you have moments of the game set in 1915 and other parts set in 1943, but I wonder if there will be more eras to play. Also, there's the option to kill your enemies, so the gameplay is already much more brutal than other Yakuza games. The show ender was Resident Evil 9 Requiem. The game is clearly going to deal with the remnants of Raccoon City after the nukes, and announced the release date of February 27. Capcom also announced that the game will be playable at Gamescom, so we will probably get a gameplay trailer at Opening Night Live. One of the first games shown in the Xbox showcase was Resonance, A Plague Tale Legacy. It is a prequel set before the events of the first Plague Tale and features a new protagonist. The trailer also had a focus on combat. The most surprising announcement was the ROG Xbox Ally, a new portable device made in partnership with Asus and making use of the Play Anywhere system that Xbox is building. Microsoft also took the opportunity to show new footage of Silksong on the device. No price though. One of the highlights of the show was Blood of the Dawnwalker, where you control a human who was transformed and controlled by vampires. The review trailer made it look like the main character would be fighting humans, but in this new trailer the main enemies of the game are the vampires. Ninja Gaiden 4 had a new trailer with some story elements and revealed the release date of October 21. In my predictions video, I completely ignored the possibility of the Indiana Jones getting some DLC, which in hindsight should have been obvious due to how successful the game was. The Order of the Giants will be available for Indiana Jones players on September 4. Beast of Reincarnation was one of the most surprising announcements, first due to it being developed by Game Freak, and second due to it looking completely different than anything they worked on before. Clockwork Revolution had a meaty trailer showing gameplay featuring characters, dialogue choices, weapon customization, and time powers. The previous trailer had already featured the time traveling mechanic, but I thought the game would be mainly about jumping between time eras. But this new gameplay shows it is more contained, instead focusing on manipulating time within the environment. The trailer didn't announce any date or even a year for the game, which is cause for concern given all the development time this game has had. Grounded 2 was announced, and much like the first, it will be out in early access on July 29. I played the first back when it was in early access, something I rarely do, but when it finally came out it felt like it was already old news, even if it was good. There Are No Ghosts at the Grand seems to be a mixture of Power Wash Simulator and Eldritch Horror Investigation. I'm curious about it, but I'll wait to see more of this game. Persona 4 Revival, the remake of Persona 4, was finally announced. A shame that the trailer was so short. Final Fantasy VII Remake, Intergrade, and Final Fantasy XVI are finally coming to Xbox. 16 is already out, and 7 is coming in the winter. The show ender was Call of Duty Black Ops 7, which sure, it is a big IP that catches a large crowd of players. I can understand the decision, but for a showcase, I feel like Call of Duty works better as a show opener or a tentpole game during the presentation, not as a show ender. This was my review of this year's Summer Games Fest. If you want to talk about the games I talked or want to add one I haven't talked, leave a comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you around.